let's just say all you have is a $200,000 mortgage. Right now, obviously, good luck today because your mortgages will probably be double that. But let's just say you have a $200,000 mortgage at 6% for 30 years. Your payments will be $1,200 per month. That's $14,400 a year. After 20 years of paying it, you still owe on a $200,000 mortgage $100,000. And your payments are still $14,400 a year. How much do you have to have in a retirement account to generate $14,400 a year after taxes? Probably $500,000 or $600,000. Is it easier to pay off $100,000 on that mortgage than save $500,000 or $600,000 so that after taxes you have $14,400 to pay that mortgage? Right, do you see?
Yeah.
So that's your goal. Out of debt, retirement accounts, Roth retirement accounts, long-term care insurance. If you can afford it, give Phyllis and her people a call. And if you're going to stay in the house that you're living in, have it paid off by the time you retire. And last but not least, you do not even think about touching your Social Security before full retirement age. If you are retiring and you have to claim Social Security at 62, you are making the biggest mistake of your lives. And if you've already done that, you have 12 months from the time you claimed it to reverse it, just so you know. So if you're going, oh my God, Suze, I just claimed Social Security and I'm 62 and I did it 4 months ago, you can reverse it. Why do you want to reverse it? Because your paychecks, which is what Social Security is giving you from 62 to your full retirement age, just let's say it's 67, increases by 6% a year. From 67 to 70, it increases by 8% a year. Where are you going to get those guaranteed returns on the money? And all you brilliant minds that say, but Suze, I'm getting all of this money. It's going to take me 11 years to make up for it if I wait, because you're getting maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month right now for an extra 5 years in your mind. So that's worth it, right? Until you're 67, 62 to 67. So if I waited till 67 and I had an increase, how many years would it take me to make up for those 5 years of payments? It's about 11 years. Till about when you're 78 or so, right in there. 78 is 6 years from now for me. Are you kidding me? You will get there, and you want to get there. And not only that, if your Social Security is more, when one of you dies, your spouse's Social Security is more, because they'll either take over yours or they'll get half of yours. So stop thinking you're going to retire at 62. Stop thinking you're going to even retire at 67. Can you make your retirement age, your goal, 70? Because now all the money in your Roth retirement accounts, all the time now you have to pay down the mortgage on your home, all the time that you have to accumulate more assets, and those assets are growing. At 70, you don't have to do the calculation that you're calculating of how much do I need when I'm going to retire, because you'll be out of debt, you'll have more Social Security, you'll have more in your retirement accounts, and you will be fine. And if you're not fine, then you're just going to have to change your lifestyle and get a smaller place to live, which, by the way, you're in your 50s. Maybe right now would be a great time. The kids maybe are out of the house. You don't need that big of a house. Can you just sell the damn house and buy outright a smaller house that you maybe own outright, or whatever it may be? Start downsizing now. Do not wait to your 60s. Start downsizing in your 50s. Keep your car for 10 or 11 years. My car is 11 years old. If I can drive an 11-year-old car, so can you. Stop leasing cars. Leasing cars is the biggest waste of money. And I can go on and on. But we just gave you an incredible basis to have financial freedom.
Can you talk a little bit about living revocable trusts? Because I know you've
Sure.
mentioned those and the importance for those as we get older.
Yeah. It's the biggest mistake. Again, another big mistake is that we think all we need is a will. And our lawyers tell us all we need is a will. And a will is simply a document that says where your assets are to go upon your death. But it does it in the most cost inefficient way possible, in that assets that do not have a beneficiary, like your home might not have a beneficiary on it, have to go through probate in most cases. If you have a life insurance policy and you designate a beneficiary, avoids probate. Your retirement accounts avoid probate because you name a beneficiary. And remember, minors can't inherit money. So never make a minor a beneficiary of any of your accounts, because they will be locked up until that minor is 18 years of age. So just know that. But your investment accounts, other things, they don't have beneficiaries in most cases. Your savings account can have a pay on death account, avoids probate. However, there's more to passing assets down than just probate. Now, let me go back for a second. Here you have a home. We'll go back to that $200,000 home that you bought. All right. And it has a $200,000 mortgage on it. And your child, one of your kids, your daughter, is living with you in that home because she can't afford rent anymore with the prices of rent. She can't afford to buy a new home because of the prices of real estate today and mortgage interest rates. So she gets an idea to come in and live with you, and you love it because you two love each other. You're helping each other out, and it's fabulous. And I say that because I think that's a great idea for everybody. There's nothing wrong with the nuclear family becoming a true nuclear family again and living together if one of you can't make it. That may mean mom has to move in with you, and maybe you have to move in with mom. You never know what happens in life. Anyway, and everything's great, and mom's house is just in mom's name. And mom still has a mortgage every single month on that $200,000 mortgage, right? They have no equity in the house at all. And mom has a will that says daughter's going to get that house. And now mom dies. How does the daughter get that house? The deed is in the mother's name. The mother is no longer alive to sign the deed from her name over to her daughter. Daughter, and most likely it won't be daughter, it will be a lawyer, has to take that will down to court known as probate court. The judge has to validate that the will is true. It's not a fake will, that mom really wanted daughter to get the house versus the two brothers that never wanted to live with mom, never wanted to help mom. Mom only wants the daughter to get the house, okay? So to open probate, and let's say it was in the state of California, where probate fees are statutory, they're set by statute, it's $1,000 just to apply for probate. Then probate, the court procedure is 6 months to 2 years. I've never seen one go faster than a year. For the judge to validate the will and sign mommy's name over from her to you in the state of California will cost approximately $10,000 to $20,000. What if you don't have that money? That property can be sold to pay the legal fees, the probate fees, right? A will does absolutely nothing to help mommy if mommy becomes incapacitated. How are you going to sign for her assets? How are you going to do any of that? A will just says where your assets are to go, a living revocable trust. While you are alive, you take the steps to transfer mom's house from her individual name into the name of the living revocable trust. Living, it's called living because you do it while you're alive. Revocable, you can change your mind anytime you want. Trust is simply the name of the document, like a will is the name of the document. You take the steps to transfer the house while you're alive, the name of it from your individual name into the name of the trust. It would be, let's say it was my mother, Ann Orman, trustee for the Ann Orman Living Revocable Trust. Held for her benefit while she is alive. That would be the new title of it now, the Ann Orman Living Revocable Trust. She is the trustee and the trustor, which means she has control over it and she can change it anytime she wants. All right. Held for her benefit while she's alive, my benefit when she dies. I'm the beneficiary. She dies. It passes to me in 2 weeks. No probate fees, nothing. It's automatically mine. Mommy doesn't die. Mommy has a stroke or is incapacitated or became like my mother, who kept asking me why Social Security kept sending her a check every month. Okay, and my mother was a legal secretary. So your mother becomes incapacitated. And now who's going to pay her bills for her? Who's going to write her checks for her? Who's going to make decisions for her, financially speaking? A living revocable trust with an incapacity clause in it gives you the right to step in. Mommy says, daughter's going to do this for me, the successor trustee. If one doctor says in a good trust, mommy's incapacitated, she's not great anymore, daughter now can be the trustee, sign for her, and do whatever she wants. Big difference, right? So just know, for those of you who are married, if your spouse, you own a house in joint tenancy with right of survivorship, and one of the spouses becomes incapacitated and you now need to sell your home, can you? You cannot, because it takes both signatures to sign the deed when it's sold, because it's joint tenancy and right of survivorship. Now, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have your spouse declared incompetent down at probate court. California, that'll cost you $5,000. And now you get a conservatorship for him or her. And every year you have to check in with the court system to make sure that what you're doing with that person's money is legit. Hey, you have a trust with an incapacity clause. You can sign for your spouse can sign for you, and blah, 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 blah. Now, normally at this point, I would be saying you need to get my must-have documents, because for 20 years now, we have been, because I wanted to avoid this. And if you go to a lawyer to do a trust, it's $2,500. I am not a lawyer by any means, but I had them created by a trust lawyer, so that for like $99, you could have $2,500 worth of state-of-the-art documents that get updated for free all the time, that that anytime you want to change something, you don't have to go back to the lawyer. Good in all 50 states. However, we're in the process of total revision right now on them. So normally I would say go to such and such, right? It would be suzeorman.com/offer, and that's where you could sign up for it, or on the community app. But right now, they're not for sale, because now we're making them even better than they were. So I don't want somebody to get caught. The old ones all work, but the new ones, I'm just waiting for a little to do that. Every single one of you, the less money you have, the more you need a living revocable trust.
And you can always go
Absolutely.
on to suzeorman.com and check out all the information. Keep checking, because those documents will become available and then you'll be able to get them. Plus, there's a wealth of information on your
Yeah,
website.
yeah,
And again, your podcast, you just answer the questions everybody thinks about. Like,
yeah.
I wish I knew this. I wish I knew that. And for people who are in a situation where maybe they're widowed or they're getting older and they need a financial advisor, how to find one you can trust?
I told you, look in the mirror. So As you're getting older, what's so great, if you listen to the Women and Money podcast, the majority of women who listen to the podcast are 50, 60, and 70 years of age. And now I get emails saying, for the first time in my life, I'm control over my money. Because women, I want you to listen to me closely. You are never powerful in life until you are powerful over your own money, how you think about it, feel about it, and how you invest it. And if you think you don't have what it takes to do so, you are making the biggest mistake in your life. You have bought the ticket that society has tried to sell you. Women, we have more ability in our little fingers, honest to God, than everybody else has in both hands. You have what it takes to have children. You have what it takes to raise your bill, bucks, and pennies. I am telling you that right now. However, if you're afraid, if you don't know what to do, and right now you should be afraid. These markets are still going down. We have record deficits. What's happening with Ukraine? Is Putin going to nuke the entire world? Nobody really knows what's happening, which is why I have been telling all of you, because I seriously believe that interest rates are going to continue up. When the feds raise interest rates, which they will continue to do because inflation has not come down, then interest rates on treasury bills, CDs, savings accounts, mortgages, everything, they all go up. All right. So, because I know many of you are afraid and many of you are stockpiling cash, and the banks aren't paying you any interest rates at all on there. So 2 years ago, I partnered with Alliant Credit Union, who is the sponsor of the Women and Money podcast. Full disclosure, they pay me to sponsor the podcast. That's all they pay me for. It does not matter how many people use them or don't use them. I don't make any additional money on that whatsoever. All right. So that's number one. But Alliant Credit Union, a year or 2 years ago, we created, when interest rates were nil, what was called the Ultimate Opportunity Savings Account, which we still have, which allows you to put in $100 a month. If that's all you have to do it the month you open the account for 12 consecutive months. Currently, you're making 2.95%, but at the end of the 12th month, they'll give you $100. That's you would need $18,000 in account right now to get that. All right. So if you don't have a lot of money, all of you should go to myalliant.com, become a member of Alliant Credit Union, and do that. Read all about it there. You'll see, right? Obviously, you have to become a member. They pay your membership fee, which is $5 that goes to foster kids. It's not going to cost you anything. You will love them. However, then interest rates started to go up, and I wanted people to make more money. Now, one of my deals with Alliant, because this is costing them a lot of money, was not to talk about it anywhere other than on my podcast. It was only for Women and Money listeners. And on the podcast, I was to tell people that they needed to go to myalliant.com/ultimate. And if you did that, you would be able to purchase a 3 and 6 month certificate of deposit. The 3 month is paying 4.85%. The 6 month is paying 5%. So if you happen to have been listening to the Women and Money podcast, and you happen to have heard that URL, that's the URL all the listeners would have gone to, which was again myalliant.com/ultimate, to qualify or to get this rate, because this is an unheard of rate for these periods of time. So all of you should be absolutely taking advantage of it. Look up at bankrate.com or NerdWallet look at what a 3-month certificate is paying, and it's like 3%. Here you're going to get 4.85%. Look at what a 6-month certificate a deposit is paying, and you're going to see it's like 4.7, 4.6. Take advantage of this 5% rate. And hopefully, as time goes on, right, rates will go up and you will get more. The reason I want you to do 3 and 6 months is because I do think rates will go up. However, you want to do whatever, just do the 6 month. There you go. But of course, you would have known that if you listened to the Women and Money podcast, just
they
so
will.
you know.
Which
They will.
Yes.
Absolutely, you will. Yes.
My
Right.
last question for you is,
All right.
most of the listeners have children, and our children
Mhm.
are young adult children who are struggling right now, whether it's just to pay their groceries or can't even think about buying a house. What advice can we give them as parents to say, okay, you should be doing this in your 20s? You should always think of savings, but what are some of the advice? What's some advice we can give our kids?
You know, what's so great is that I do have 10 New York Times bestsellers.
Mhm.
Um, and one of them, which was written in 2005, was the money book for the young, fabulous, and broke. And even though that book has not been updated, just know that the concepts in it are incredible. The Women and Money book that I wrote, incredible. So I have an incredible source for these kids to be doing. So I say Women and Money. If your kid is over 30, 40 years of age, have them read Women and Money, seriously. But here's what I really want to say to you. Women do not, kids rather, do not listen to what you say. They do what you do. If they see you spending when they know you probably shouldn't be, if they see you being irresponsible with money, they will do so. They will not be able to listen when you tell them, do this. So, the first suggestion I would have for them seriously is all 600 episodes that I did for CNBC, their #1 show for 13 years, is playing on Freevee. Amazon streams on Prime, obviously. You have to spend money to do that. These are free. If you go to Freevee, you will see, look up Suze Orman, all 600 episodes. The kids are loving them all over again. It's relatable, even though it was done, a few years ago now. Actually, 8 years ago now was my last show. They love the "Can I Afford It" segment. They love how sarcastic I am. They love when I say things, listen, I can't fix stupid and you're stupid. They relate to that. They relate to the leather jackets. I can tell them to do things that, Mom, you can't. You just can't. I didn't listen to my parents. If they told me X, I did Y. So let somebody educate them, right? If they really want to learn from you, if they really want to, then there's 3 keys to financial success. And if you could teach them this, then that would be all you would need to do. Number 1, debt is bondage. You will never have financial freedom if you have debt. You're already going down the financial path to poverty if you cannot pay your credit cards off at the end of every month. That's number 1. FICO scores are incredibly important. So teach them about a FICO score. And a FICO score, for those of you who don't know, is your credit score. Very different than your Vantage score or the score you get with Credit Karma, because 90% of all creditors out there only take FICO scores, which is at myfico.com. Fair Isaacs, the company that originally did it. Teach them how they need a FICO score of 720 or above. Otherwise, they're going to pay more interest on mortgages, car loans. Employers, even though they're not supposed to, don't think that they don't know how to check FICO scores, and your car insurance will be higher. So you need a high FICO score. So if you don't have 720 or above, FICO scores run from all the way from like 300 up to 850. If you have anything from 500 or below, you are so screwed. It's not even funny. You are FICO'd. So you better have a good FICO score. Next, obviously, take advantage of retirement account contributions, especially if they match. The sooner you begin, teach them about compounding of interest. If you start putting $100 a month away in a Roth IRA at 25 and you do it for 45 till you are 60, for 40 years till you are 65, at normal market returns, let's say 12% annual average rate of return over that time, you'll have $1 million. You start at 30 rather at 35 rather than 25, you'll have only $300,000. Those 10 years cost you $700,000. Teach them that. And last but not least, you are always to live below your means, but within your needs. Just because I can afford a new car doesn't mean I should buy a new car. Just because I can afford a lot doesn't mean I should buy that. I, to this day, KT and I both live below our means, but within our needs. What is a need? A need is food at a grocery store, not going out to restaurants. I hate going out to restaurants. What a waste of money. Because I know if I took that $50 bill and I invested it, I know what I can make out of it in 5 years. And I don't want to pay $250 for food that's not even probably healthy for you. So live below your means, but within your needs. How do you do that? Every time before you buy something, ask yourself, is this a need or is this a want? If it's a want, walk away. If it's a need, medicine, whatever, you have to buy it.
I want to be, at that age, I want to be comfortable and not worried about money. And that is so important. And this advice
And you
is
know why,
invaluable.
Bridget, you want that? Because everybody, see if you could answer this question. What is the goal of money? Go on, everybody, think about it. Is it to buy a little fancy Mercedes? Is it to buy designer brand clothes or jewelry? Or what is the goal of money? The goal of money for you to be secure. Nothing will make you more powerful in life when you feel secure. When you feel secure, you're not insecure. When you're insecure, you make mistakes with your money. When you're secure, you know who you are, what you want, what you need, what you can afford, and what it takes for you to be happy.
Thank you so much for all of
Thank
this
you.
information.
Thank you so much.
It has
Yeah.
been
This is
such
amazing.
a
Yes.
pleasure and a privilege to talk to you. So
Yes,
we
you.
appreciate your
absolutely.
time
Yeah.
and all of the links to your website, to your podcast. Everything will be in our show notes. Everyone can check it out. And thank you again so very much for being on the show, Susie.
My honor.